Hello, everyone. Steven Jackson from People's Depot. How you doing? Many of you know me from People's Depot podcast. You've seen me many times talking about gold and silver, so many other products. I've also talked a lot about stem cells. And so today we're going to be talking about one of the products that we have a collaboration with. Now, what People's Depot do is they help people start, grow, and maintain their business through insanely profitable niches and world-class resources. And today we're going to be talking about one of those very niches, dealing with the stem cell patch. And in fact, I had the privilege to be able to write this book, and hopefully you can see it, Stem Cells, The Future of Health Restoration. It's a 58-page book, but we'll let you know everything you need to know about stem cells. But why would you want to know that? That is because stem cells do so much to help your body with just about everything that you can ever think of. Today we have a testimonial. This is Robert Hill. He had the privilege of actually taking the stem cell patches or using them for a situation that he experienced. And so I'm going to ask him a few questions. I'm going to let him have the floor. Robert, how you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, actually.
Good, good. Now, you had a slight health issue, and well, let me tell you, what is your regimen when it comes to nutrition?
My regimen, as far as nutrition, is I make it my business. I try not to eat very many, if any, processed foods whatsoever. The vast majority of my foods consist of organic greens, different types of organic greens, or organic fruits, grass-fed beef, wild-caught salmon, raw honey, organic extra virgin olive oil. Many days I may eat one or two salads a day, composed of mixed greens, be it spinach, arugula, romaine lettuce, Swiss chard. And as far as my salad dressings, because I like salad dressing on my salads, I make my own. I make my own out of organic extra virgin olive oil with a bit of raw honey, maybe a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that's my dressing. And I'm happy with that. And it makes me feel good.
Wow. With a diet like that, you wonder how could anything ever happen health-wise? But you had an experience, and maybe you can kind of relate that experience.
Well, the experience really started as far back as June of 2012. And that's when I was diagnosed with, according to the urologist, an aggressive form of prostate cancer.
Okay.
Now, at that time, my PSA level was 7.2. And he suggested, as the medical profession will, he suggested that I either do surgery to have it removed, or I do radiation to see if I could, get the cancer to go into remission. Well, I wasn't too crazy about either suggestion. And in the process of the discussion that we had, he said, whatever you do, don't think that, going into taking herbs and changing your diet is going to bring about any kind of change. He says, you have a very aggressive cancer here. Okay. And so he said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a couple of weeks to think about what we discussed. And then after those few weeks are over, you come back and you talk to me. Well, I thought about it. Incidentally, he said he had prostate cancer and that he had his removed. Now, whether that was true or not, I obviously had no way of knowing, but I took him at his word, and I thought, well, maybe he has a point. But then I thought about it. I says, I don't have cancer because I have too many prostates. I have cancer because of other issues. Either because of my diet, either because of my stress at work, or in other areas of my life. So I'm not too crazy about having my prostate removed. I'm definitely not going to do any radiation. So I decided to do exactly what he told me not to do. I started changing my diet. I started taking supplements like vitamin D3, quality vitamin D3, curcumin, which is a derivative of turmeric. And I got the concentrated form. Yeah, about maybe 500 to 700 milligrams. I would take maybe about 21 milligrams of curcumin a day or every other day. The vitamin D3, I was taking anywhere between 5,000 IUs to 10,000 IUs every other day. And I did a lot of research for myself as well. I figure if you're going to have any chance of getting past this, you've got to do your homework. And you can't just listen to everything and everything that's out there and everything everyone else says. You got to find out for yourself. So I decided to look up other things I could do besides what I was already doing. So I found out that yes, vitamin D is a good thing. Vitamin D3 is a good thing to take, but you want to try to get your vitamin D as much as possible from the sun itself. And living down here in southern Arizona, we got nothing but sunshine.
That's
so
true.
I figured, well, it's free. I ain't got to pay nothing for it. So you need to get on out there and get it. So I've got about 5 different parks in the Phoenix metro area. Huge parks with man-made lakes, beautiful. And I decided to get out on the bike paths in those parks and walk in the sunshine with as little clothing as possible. I didn't want to be indecent, of course. And, either walk out there for a good hour or find myself a nice place to plant my reclining chair and just lay there and absorb all the sunshine I could get on me. And what happened was, after doing that a number of years and sticking to it, it did eventually put the cancer in remission. All
Good
right.
for you.
It put it in remission. The PSA was growing, but I had another issue called interstitial cystitis that was causing inflammation. And that may have been the reason why the PSA was, creeping up. But when I went to my naturopath, he says, yeah, it's creeping up a little bit, but there's another type of PSA that they call free PSA. There's your conventional PSA reading, and there's a free PSA reading. And the free PSA reading was indicating to the naturopath, you don't have much of any kind of activity with this cancer at all. He says, you keep doing just what you're doing, and it looks like you'll be fine. So here it is, 2012, I've been diagnosed. And of course, when you get a cancer diagnosis, your life just flashes before your eyes. I was looking to retire at either the age of 62, 65. I'm thinking to myself, I ain't gonna make it to 62, much less 65. But yet, as the years passed by, I'm still working a full 40 plus hours a week. And the years are passing, I'm still here, and I'm feeling good, you know. And before I knew it, here I am in 2018. 2018, I'm ready to consider retirement, something I thought I would never see. So I came out of the workforce. I look around, here's 2022, June of 2022. I am still here 10 years after my initial diagnosis. That was nice. That was nice. But it appears that something may have happened to re-trigger the growth of the cancer, because in early 2023, it apparently did come back, or at least it reactivated. And now I'm diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. Fortunately, it has not spread beyond my lymph nodes. I don't have it in my bones. I don't have it in any other organs. But it was necessary for me to take some kind of action, because if I didn't, it was going to become a major issue, you know, with respect to metastasis.
Wow. That is an experience. I can imagine how you must have felt. And it seems like you were doing everything that you could to stomp out what you had before and to continue to maintain your health. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
So you were still going out in the sun. You're still doing your homeopathic type regimen. You're doing your diet regimen, and you find out you have stage 4 prostate cancer. So what was there left for you to do? How did you get to the point? Well, let me ask you, what is your condition right now?
Well, right now, when I found out I had stage 4 cancer, my PSA level was 77, which is extremely high, dangerously high. That's a clear-cut indication of cancer.
Yes.
So the naturopath, he put me on, oh my goodness, he put me on high dosage vitamin C intravenous drip. And the first session that I received that drip, I received 50,000 milligrams of vitamin C.
And that's about correct. That's normally what they do.
But the problem was, because I have a chronic illness that's also connected with my urinary system. It's called interstitial cystitis, which is, simply put, it's an ulceration of the urinary bladder. I've had this ever since January of 2004. Those who are unfortunate enough to have interstitial cystitis generally are unable to tolerate vitamin C in any amount, much less 50,000 milligrams. And needless to say, when that stuff went into my bloodstream, I was urinating like every 45 minutes. Could not sleep, because every 45 minutes to an hour, I'm getting up to urinate. And so what that did, it almost put me back to what I first experienced when I developed interstitial cystitis back in January of 2004.
Mm-hmm.
The same symptoms. But I figured, well, you knew you were going to deal with some kind of side effects. So don't give up on it. So I went back to the naturopath and we talked about my situation. So he decided to drop the dosage down to 35,000 milligrams. So now he did that, and I was messed up real bad. So here it is. I've got 85,000 milligrams of vitamin C in my bloodstream. And you can imagine that high a dosage of vitamin C or anything else is not going to leave your system overnight. It took weeks for that dosage to leave my system. Now, in the process is where it was supposed to deal with the cancer, snuff it out. What it did was, from the way I was feeling, it created inflammation in my urinary tract, which may have affected my prostate as well.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is I decided, the vitamin C drip is not going to work for me. So I talked to the urologist that originally diagnosed me back in June of 2012.
Mm-hmm.
He suggested I come in, I talk to him, I get some tests, which I did. And when I got the test, he said, it would be good for you to talk to an oncologist, because your prostate is so big until it's causing your ureters that lead from your kidney down to your bladder. It's causing them to be blocked up so your urine does not flow freely. And that is going to cause you renal failure if you don't get that corrected. As if that bad enough, you got cancer. Now you're looking at renal failure. So anyway, he suggested an oncologist who could possibly help me determine what methods could be used to bring the size down and deal with the cancer. I asked him about the possibility of removing the prostate. He says, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You're too far gone, you see, to do that. That's in essence what he was saying. So I finally go to the oncologist. She tells me what my situation is. She does a blood test because she wants to put me on Lupron. And what Lupron does, it lessens the testosterone in a man's system. The medical profession believes that excessive testosterone feeds the growth of the prostate, which contributes to the cancer. Apparently, that's the rationale they have. Okay. So she wants to put me on Lupron because I made it crystal clear we're not doing any radiation. We are not doing any chemo. Now, you got something other than the two things I just mentioned, I will try it. As long as it doesn't come with a plethora of really bad side effects, I'll give it a try. I mean, what have I got to lose?
That's right.
So anyway, she says, well, before we put you on the Lupron, we need to take a blood test to see exactly where you're at. And so they took the blood test. It came back. Now my PSA is 142, almost double what it was before. Before it was 77. Now it's 142.
Wow.
And my kidney function, my I think it's called granular function, granular filtration rate, I think that, or GFR, was down to 30%. So I've only got 30% kidney function. but I'm not really feeling any effects from it. Frequent urination is one of the symptoms of low kidney function. But I'm not. My eyes are not turning yellow from jaundice or anything like that. I'm not experiencing a lot of itching or anything like that. But now I'm worried, you're down to 30%. You don't start really drinking water and eating properly, you're going to lose your kidneys. That's what it comes down to. So I said, and if you don't get this prostate size down, you're definitely going to lose your kidney function altogether. You're going to find yourself on dialysis.
Now, hold on for a minute. You were on a good diet. Where did the not eating properly and the water, where did that come in? What were you doing at that point?
Sometimes when you're feeling good, you tend to go off of your diet.
Okay.
Start eating things that normally you wouldn't. But in addition to that, I have read that if you have certain dental procedures done, which I did in October of 2022, I think I had a crown installed or something like that. And it has been said, at least in the case of men, you have certain dental procedures done, like a root canal or something like that, it can actually trigger the development of prostate cancer.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and I have to go back to find that for you, but they suggest do not, or not just prostate cancer, but just about any other kind of cancer for that matter. So they suggest that if you can avoid it, don't do it. Don't get root canals and stuff like that. Definitely when they fill your teeth, make sure that they're not using anything that has aluminum in it.
Okay.
Or lead or nickel or something like that. If you can get something like I don't know what they call it, like a resin or something like that doesn't have all that heavy metal in it, that's the best way to have your teeth filled.
Okay. All right.
But I think that may have been a contributory factor. I don't know. But anyway, the fact remains, hey, here I am. So now what you going to do? So I decided, okay, you got to tighten up on your diet again. And you've got to start finding supplements that will truly work with, not just with, but for eradicating your cancer, bringing your cancer numbers down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did, in addition to going back to square one with my diet. Okay. So I started taking those supplements, the curcumin again, the vitamin D3. I had to be careful with the vitamin D3 because too much vitamin D3 can have an adverse effect on damaged kidneys. Now, my kidneys are already not functioning properly. I don't want to take too much of anything that's going to further damage them. So I've got to tread lightly as far as taking vitamin D3. All right. So anyway, I started taking those things, and just before I was supposed to go back to get a second blood test from this oncologist and then start taking the Lupron shots, you finally convinced me to get the transdermal patches for the stem cells. And so I says, okay, I got them. Now it's time to go ahead and put them to use, because what have you got to lose? You need to go and try everything necessary.
Yeah, so for the audience, I want to make sure they're clear. It's a non-transdermal. In other words, there's no medication in it.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to think there's medication in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The patches have no medication.
Yeah.
They actually have through light therapy, a way of activating the stem cells. So that's what you experience, but I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I call them transdermal because they stick to your skin, and that's my definition of transdermal. But Anyway, I started using them. And truth be told, after a couple of days, I started noticing a difference. And one of the differences that I noticed was that now you just went through trying to get out of your system 85,000 milligrams of vitamin C, making you pee all day, all night. I started experiencing being able to go to lay down to hopefully get a good night's sleep, going from getting up 5 and 6 times a night to use the washroom to just 2 and 3 times using the washroom. There were a few nights, I never thought I would get back to this point. I actually only got up one time that night to go to the washroom. I said, it has been, how many years has it been I've actually had that kind of experience? So anyway, I says, well, keep putting them on. What have you got to lose? Just keep on using them along with your diet. So when I finally went back to the oncologist, my second trip to the oncologist, she says, well, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take your, oh yeah, and they weighed me. I was 137 pounds, which is a pretty low weight for a man, but then I've always been a small person. I was 138, 139 pounds when I got married in 1981. So I've always been a small person. I don't like being small, but this is my lot. I got to accept it. So anyway, I'm at 137 pounds. They bring me in and they take the blood test first before they introduce the lupron. Now keep in mind, my PSA was 142 with the first visit. No lupron was given, none. With the second visit, they took my blood test. I got a call a week later from the oncologist. Her assistant called me and said, Robert, I think you're going to be very pleased with your results. And I says, okay, go right ahead. I'm ready. I'm listening. Your PSA has dropped to 59. From 142 to 59 in just a matter of about a month's time.
Wow.
She said, you know, the oncologist, and the oncologist's name, her name is Amber Flaherty. She says she is ecstatic. She hasn't seen anything like that before.
Now that was before you took your shot, right?
Yeah, that was before
the shot.
I took the shot.
And after you started taking the patches.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, I'm going to keep working on it. Now, keep in mind, I'm not telling these folks what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell them what I'm doing.
I understand.
I tell them what I'm doing. I'll tell them about the diet and stuff like that, but that's about as far as it's going to go. I ain't going to tell them about the other stuff. So anyway, then they gave me the lupron shot. I said I was going to take it. Okay, fine. Because I got to shrink this prostate because I got a kidney issue. I'm not looking to be on dialysis for the rest of my life.
Yes, yes.
So, okay, now we come to the third visit. The first visit, I think, was September. The second was October. Now we're in November. I go in, I get weighed. And I've been eating a lot ever since then. I've been eating everything inside. I come in, I empty that ice box. I empty that ice box, Jack. But it's like I said, it's salad, fresh salad, tossed salad, organic. One time I got sick with a sore throat, which really wasn't too bad. And so I decided, well, why don't you try some chicken soup with some noodles? So I got myself some nice organic noodles and some organic roast chicken from Whole Foods, and got myself some bell pepper, no, not bell pepper, some celery and a little sea salt and a little olive oil in there, and made myself a nice soup, wolfed that down, got myself some wild rice to go along with that, wolfed that down. So that was my eating regimen every day.
Okay.
Because I wanted to gain some weight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I go back in November, or rather, November. And I go in, they take my weight. I'm up from 137 pounds to 156 pounds.
Wow.
And so she's really happy about that. I said, you ain't no more happier than me.
Wow.
So they take me into the room where they're gonna do what they're gonna do, the blood test, then the Lupron shot. They took the blood test first, then 5 minutes later, the Lupron shot.
Okay.
Says, okay, Robert. Says, you're doing real good. Says, let's see what the results of your blood test showed this time. 3 days later, they called me up. Says, well, Robert, you were at 59. Your PSA now is 10.
Wow.
Your PSA level is 10. I said, well, I'm gonna keep on working on it. December rolls around, I go back in for test. My weight's still about 157 to 160 pounds. They take the blood test first, then they give me the Lupron, and I'm feeling somewhat a bit of side effects from the Lupron, and they say that the Lupron will increase your weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I says, shoot, hey, I can go for that. If that's one of the side effects of Lupron, yeah, I'll take it. Sure will. So, and another side effect is that of hot flashes.
Okay.
And so I found myself, sweating, not profusely when I'm sleeping at night, but sweating nonetheless. I'm feeling this warm feeling, but it wasn't distressing, because I knew what it was. And after maybe about an hour or two, it goes away. I'm good,
Okay. Okay.
So those two things have been the only side effects I've experienced from taking the Lupron shots.
Okay.
And that's good, no headaches, no ringing in the ears, none of that garbage. So anyway, I go back in December, and I take the blood test, they give me the Lupron shot. 3 days later, they call me back, says, well, Mr. Hill, your PSA has dropped down to 4.70.
Wow.
And see, the healthy range for a PSA level is between 0 and 4. I'm only a few percentage points above the 4.
Yeah, like 7
So
tenths.
so this last time in January when I went, normal procedure, weigh you 156, 157 pounds. Take you in, take your blood first, then the Lupron. She called me up about 2 or 3 days later. Your PSA is down to 3.76.
Wow.
Yeah. And all of this honestly, in less than 6 months. in less than 6 months.
Yeah, it seems like about 3 or 4, really.
Yeah.
From the time you start taking your patches. So,
and the result has been that now with interstitial cystitis, you're going to have urinary issues, especially if you eat the wrong food. As healthy as bell pepper is for you, if I eat too much bell pepper, I'm going to be peeing a lot all day, all night.
Okay.
If I eat anything like, I can get away with maybe taking a sip of lemon, real lemon, but it's just got to be a sip, because if I go overboard with it, it's gonna mess with my bladder, and that's gonna make me urinate a lot. Yeah. Cold weather is another thing. That's why I don't like it when it's like this, because what cooler weather does, it makes me urinate a lot. Okay. Well, that is a result of the interstitial cystitis. I may never get rid of that. I don't know. But as far as being able to urinate when I'm not being affected by the interstitial cystitis, I urinate more freely now than I have in the last 20 years. Good. Definitely the last 10, because my prostate is shrunk, So far, so good.
So can you say that the patches really helped you, or what do you think?
Yeah, I would say they did.
Okay.
I would say they did.
I sent you a protocol for the IC. Did you start using that yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not really. Not yet. I haven't used it yet. Because I don't know. I've had so much stuff to do. Well, what the situation I'm dealing with, looking for a car, and then congregation responsibilities, stuff like that. And many times I forget to use that protocol.
Yeah.
But I am going to.
The worst is over. So
yeah,
it's not alarming, but
no.
I think the protocol, the stem cells worked on acupuncture points as well.
Yeah.
They all are pretty much contained or somewhat synonymous. So when you're at a certain acupuncture point, when you're trying to activate a stem cell at that point, it will treat some things a little differently. So it's just a trial, nothing guaranteed. And this is not about trying to say medicine doesn't do this or supplements don't do this. This is about what helped you in your condition. Some people don't have IC, and so they could have taken the vitamin C infusion at a stronger level, and it may have solved the problem as well. But the point is that you were able to utilize something that was safe and that helped you. And so that's what we want the audience to see. I use the patches as well, but I take supplements too. And there are times I use medication. We never want to rule out any of that, but we do want to bring to the audience attention that there could be something that can help supplement what they're doing to achieve a better, healthier outcome. And so that's what this is about, and that's what the testimonial is about. That's what this book was all about. As we shared with people, if people learn what stem cells do, then they'll know what the outcome of the patches will do. And this is Lifewave patches. Just so the audience know, there will be a link below this video in this description so that you can go right to investigate the Lifewave patches to see if it's something that is available for you. Bobby, I want to thank you for the testimonial. It's important because my goal in doing this was to help people. This book is only $4.95. It's not a big item. And so, being in the health field and I've seen so many things, it kind of just lets me know I've seen what people experience, and I've seen what this can do for people. And so I just want to share it. Not trying to replace any medical procedures or anything like that, but I do know the more options you have, the better your health outcome will be. And so that's what this is all about. So do you have anything else you have left to say at this point?
Yeah, well, what you just said less than a few seconds ago is absolutely right. The more options you have, the better able you are to fight, virtually any illness that you develop, especially when it comes to cancer.
Yes.
And I can't emphasize strongly enough that diet is also a major factor. Diet is a major factor.
Yeah, and you proved that in the beginning of this, at the onset of your problem, what diet can do. And of course, we want to let everyone know. I mean, you are what you take in.
Yeah,
it's just that simple. So if you take in garbage, it's going to be garbage. So,
yeah, that's true.
That's very important. So again, Bobby, I want to thank you for doing this testimonial. I know it's not always easy to present yourself. Issues that you have, those are personal issues. Health issues are personal issues, and it's not always easy to talk about it. But you don't realize how many people you may have just helped. Because there are people that have good regimens, and yet they still succumb to their illnesses.
Yeah.
And so this is just one extra option that may be just what they need to get them out of that. And so that's what I want to share with the audience. Again, I'm Steven Jackson of People's Depot. Many of you have seen me in my podcast show, People's Depot Podcast. I want to thank you for allowing us to come into your online space and sharing this testimonial. Please, as you go to my YouTube channel, that is the People's Depot YouTube channel, please click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can see all the wonderful tools, testimonials that we actually share with our audience. Again, I want to thank you so much. And all I have left to say is, see you later. All right, Bobby, that was great. That was actually